Stream should be live. Hello, everybody. I'm going to take a look at the Mary Sue article, which was posted earlier. Metroid's Samus Aran is a transgender woman. Deal with it. Gotta love that assertion. You know, they're going to tell us what's what, and we are going to like it, and it doesn't matter what anybody else has to say on the matter. Even the actual creators of the game. And I covered this a couple of months ago in a different video, and there was a different article making the very same assertion. And the evidence that they used to back up this claim was an off-color comment from, I think, a strategy guide or a Nintendo Power guide or something like that, where somebody that worked on the graphics for the game had said that Samus was I think the new half was the term they used. But I'm just gonna, rather than me making another video about this, I figured I'd stream it, read through the video, and see where the stupidity takes us. Alright, so there's been a lot of talk lately about the lack of women protagonists in video games, but our problems with diversity don't stop there. Once again, lack of female protagonists. I don't think that's really a thing, but apparently these people only consider video games within the past few years as representing the entirety of them, and they constantly ignore, countless Japanese games and other things. Although, to be fair, Metroid is a Japanese game. As one article recently noted, shockingly, there have only been 14 playable black women in video game history. Now, I don't know where they're getting their information on that one, but I'm definitely going to call bullshit. I clicked that link that they have here earlier when I was first looking over this, and they only looked back to games from the PS1 era. And as we all know, video games were out for a couple of decades prior to the PS1 generation. So, yeah, 14 my ass. Gamers who aren't cisgender white men often find themselves lacking characters they can rally behind. Why? Because the entirety of their identity is based upon race and gender identity? Don't these people have anything else of value to offer? Representation for transgender people is equally tough to find in gaming. Both Danganronpa and Persona 4 managed to blunder transgender representation. Now, I've never played either one of those, so I'm not exactly sure what they're referring to, but I assume that they got their representation but didn't like the way it was portrayed, so therefore they deemed it problematic. One of the most famous transgender video game characters, Poison from Final Fight, is empowered but blatantly over-sexualized. Characters in stories like this reinforce the harmful idea that transgender women only have societal value in their sex appeal. Really? Come on. Final Fight, awesome video game. Glad that it's at least being acknowledged in some form. Poison, I like Poison. I don't really care about the gender identity, but apparently neither does Capcom, because they are kind of intentionally leaving it a mystery, last I heard. That's why I'm thrilled to tell you that one of the most famous women in video game history happens to also be a transgender woman. It's none other than Nintendo's Samus Aran, or I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that because I've never heard it spoken out loud. It's true, in 1994, the writers of the official Japanese Super Metroid strategy guide asked Metroid's developers if they could share any secrets about the intergalactic bounty hunter. Hirofumi Matsuoka, who helped work on the original design for Samus Aran, claimed that she wasn't a woman, but instead something I can't read, or new half. This language has its own issues, but terminology, I'm jumbling my words now, used for gender in the early 90s was as different in Japan as it was in the West. Now, as far as I know, the term new half would not be politically correct. There has been some debate asking if the comment was in jest or genuine. Guess which one it was. Some have compared Matsuoka's use of new half to the offensive Western term she-male. It's possible to interpret this as an ugly joke about Samus's traditionally masculine appearance, as illustrated in the 80s by Nintendo Power, where she is said to be 6'3" and 198 pounds. Well, I'm pretty sure the reason that she was heavier was because her body went through modification by the Chozo, I believe they're called. So her bones were more dense or something along those lines, unless I'm thinking of something else. But I'm pretty sure that was the reasoning behind that. In the uglier context, new half refers to trans women who have not had gender confirmation surgery. Gender confirmation surgery? I have never heard it referred to as that. Do we always have to come up with these weird terms for things? Surgery to confirm your gender. It's just, that sounds so stupid, but okay. Equivalent to Matsuoka laughing and remarking, yeah, Samus has a dick. Well, I mean, wouldn't that effectively be what they're saying? Which would kind of defeat the purpose of the big reveal in the original Metroid. I mean, if the manual went out of its way to make you think that Samus was a man until the very end, and then you beat the game and you find out that she's a woman. So I'm going to be a little bit, just slightly politically incorrect here, and say that if Samus still had a penis and therefore was biologically a man, what difference would it make that they revealed she's a woman at the end? Why would that be a surprise? Kind of takes away from it. However, new half wasn't always used in a pornographic or insulting context, especially in 1994 Japan. I'm sure they really did their research on this and flew over there and, interviewed people and everything, because, the Mary Sue is definitely not trying to spin a narrative. Not at all. The term is older and stems from popular use of the term, or half, used to refer to Japanese people of mixed race origin. This form of self-identification became popularized throughout the early 1980s. By 1982, it had been picked up by the press and was used to refer to transgender performers, such as actress and singer-songwriter Rumiko Matsubara. Looking to negate Matsuoka's remark, some gamers have pointed to an FAQ on the Japanese Zero Mission site by Yoshio Sakamoto, co-director of Metroid. Co-director. Now, to me, that implies a higher position than just some dude that worked on the graphics or helped work on the graphics. I'm not sure exactly how many people were on the team for that. There he says, Samus being a new half is not impossible, but unlikely. Others have pointed to Samus's portrayals as a child in Metroid Zero Mission, Metroid Other M, and official manga as proof that she is actually a cisgender woman. I can't get over the fact that I actually have to sit here and say cisgender like it's an actual thing. They just make up these words to just label everything, and it's really obnoxious. I mean, we already have a term for this. Isn't it just normal? And I know you're going to say, well, that implies that being transgender is somehow bad. No, it doesn't. It just means it's uncommon. This is where we get into the uglier world of cis-normativity. Oh, right along with heteronormativity, right? And transgender erasure. Over the years, Nintendo has slowly altered Samus's design into a petite blonde woman with large breasts. Something that people like to look at. Finding her sexually attractive, some gamers are flat out uncomfortable thinking about her as a transgender woman. It really wouldn't matter because she's a drawing. I mean, she's artwork. She's not real. So don't make the accusation that it makes them uncomfortable because of that. I mean, some people are uncomfortable with the fact that people find video game characters visually appealing. So there's that too. As that Sabine girl points out on Twitter, as if she's somebody relevant, many gamers are incorrectly assuming she is cisgender simply from her gender presentation. The truth is, you can't know if someone is transgender simply by looking at them. Oh, I hate this argument. I mean, really, that is just not true at all. I'm sorry. It's just not. Sure, there are some trans individuals that can pass to the point where you can't tell, but There are also some that you can kind of tell just by looking. It's not I'm not necessarily saying it in an insulting way. It's just the truth. First, how do you know that? Second, when did we see this in canon? She appears as a young girl in Zero Mission and Other M, and as a teenage girl in Other M. At no point is she male. Fair point. She was not physically male when she was 3 and her parents were killed. I haven't seen this. Are you saying the genitals of a 3-year-old were shown? So, if that's going to be your argument, that the genitals weren't shown, how can you make that claim that she definitely is trans? This is stupid. Because if so, that's fucking disgusting. Because, you know, it's not possible to show a baby or a toddler in the nude without it being sexualized. I think your mindset is fucking disgusting. If not, then how would you know birth assigned gender of a 3-year-old? We're talking about fictional characters. The Metroid manga that was produced and sanctioned by Sakamoto back in the Metroid Fusion era could have simply been having her gender recognized by those around her from a very young age. The mental gymnastics are astounding. We should send them off to the Olympics. Fans asking for ironclad proof of Samus's apparent transition can suspend their disbelief enough to believe that there are bird aliens that develop power suits, but can't believe a girl could declare her gender identity at a young age. Now, I've said this before in my prior video, but do you really think that in a world where bird aliens are raising and physically augmenting a young lady for battle purposes, that we have time to care about gender identities? I'm sure the first thing she was thinking about when her parents were killed were, oh, I better tell everybody I'm trans. Come on. All right. Besides, this is the same canon that purposefully misgenders the main character in both the Western and Japanese manuals for the original NES release in order to keep her gender a surprise. You know, they frame that statement as though, oh shit, and I'm playing an ad, and I don't know why. Way too, all right, you know what? I'm going to turn back. Oh shit, this is no. Okay, there we go. Well, that was fun. All right. Anyway, back to where I was. I should have I had Ghostery on, but whenever I turn it on, it blocks out the tweets and it leaves it to text, and I kind of just wanted to have them showing, but that was probably a mistake. Hopefully we don't get interrupted by more ads. As I was saying, they frame this statement as if purposely misgendering the main character was a bad thing. Why does it automatically have to be a bad thing? I thought it was awesome that you find out that Samus was a woman. It's an element of mystery. It's a surprise. There's nothing wrong with that. It was a good surprise. I'm pretty sure a lot of people enjoyed it. In fact, I don't know anybody that's ever said, man, I played through Metroid the whole time and it was a woman, fuck this game, and then, you know, they sold it off or something. Things like that just don't happen. No matter what fans say, the intent of the creator is the only opinion that really matters. Okay, the intent of the creator is the only opinion that really matters. Well, that's true, in a sense. But we're not talking about the sole creator of Metroid here. We're talking about some dude that worked on the graphics. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have the final say. When J.K. Rowling, the sole writer of Harry Potter, as far as I know, announced that Dumbledore from Harry Potter was gay, that was the end of the discussion. Some fans couldn't accept or understand it. Well, maybe they didn't understand it because it wasn't clear in the book. I've never read the Harry Potter books, so maybe it was clear and I'm just ignorant. But her public statement was the only source that mattered. It's an authorial acknowledgement that this character, like any, can realistically be queer or transgender without it having to define them. Now, that's true. It would actually be a great way to portray a so-called queer or transgender character if that wasn't... Jesus, is this going to stop?
Introducing Shrek Ogre O cereal.
All right, so everybody's going to laugh at the archive here. I'm going to go ahead and turn back Ghostery on so this bullshit doesn't show, because Shrek cereal, buy some now. Okay, that's enough of the Shrek segment of the stream. Remind me not to ever take Ghostery off again on the Mary Sue, no matter whether I can view tweets or not. I guess we can just look at the text versions of them. That's fine. I was saying, once again, before the interruption, I like how the interruptions pop in as I'm making my points. I was saying that the best way to insert such a character into your story or game is to not have those characteristics define them, where you wouldn't really know unless it was explicitly stated, because it's entirely stupid to add something just for the sake of having it. Now, as far as Samus's gender identity goes, if we're really going to get into that, why would it even matter either way? Like, why would you fight so hard to have her be transgender? It doesn't do anything for the story. It's just you knowing that beneath that armor, there's something there, something a little extra. And I know that's transphobic of me to say, but other than that, what does it prove? What does it do? It doesn't do anything for the story, because this isn't the story about the search for one woman's gender identity. It's about fucking blasting aliens in outer space. But as we all know, transphobia leaves the Earth and enters space. Okay, but I was just checking the chat to see if anybody's actually here. What's the harm of giving the benefit of the doubt to one of the most marginalized communities in gaming? Well, it's inaccurate. Gamer Aria Aaron correctly points out that assuming characters are cisgender and straight without a preponderance of evidence is erasure. So we need evidence. This is confusing. Let's just read what she has to say and look at replies. The mere suggestion a beloved character... Oh, does it start down here and go up? Okay. Requiring proof is hugely problematic because, you know, if we actually look at the proof, it doesn't fit the narrative you're trying to spin. Oops. Cis people don't need to prove cisness. Heterosexual peeps don't need to prove straightness. Oh my God. It's not about proving cisness or straightness. Look, the fact that people... You're arguing that it's the default, right? Well, the reason why nobody is talking about Samus being cis or straight is because these elements don't really come into play in the actual game. Why would you need to prove that you're not part of an outlying community? I mean, let's be fair. The majority of individuals are this so-called cis, and they are straight. That's kind of the default in nature that allows the continuation of the species. I'm sorry if you don't like that. I mean, it's really just a suggestion from one of the creators. We trans peeps, we want badly to be represented. Cis people rarely allow us. Yeah, we all take it away from you. You know, we take those trans characters and we change their gender on you because we don't want to allow you. It has nothing to do with the fact that it wasn't the original intent of the character to be transgender. You know, nothing at all. And look at replies. The mere suggestion a beloved character could be trans is always met with such defensiveness because it's stupid. I mean, imagine for a moment that one of your trans characters was being changed by the community. They were saying, oh, this character's not trans, they're cis and straight. You would flip out. Of course, you would also argue that you are oppressed and underrepresented, and therefore it's okay for you to flip out, but you'd flip out nonetheless. Queer gamers, which I don't even know why that's a thing. Like, why can't you just be a gamer? Have seen the language used for gender variant characters like Poison, Birdo, and Vivian evolve over time. That there's been, I can't believe, Birdo, the pink dinosaur, confirmed trans. That there's been so much discussion around a throwaway quote. Okay, all right, we're going to stop right there. You just said throwaway quote. Now, earlier, you were acting as though this was proof, big proof, that this is accurate, and this is why Samus is trans. And now you're going to sit here and call this a throwaway quote. Well, if it is in fact a throwaway quote, you basically just invalidated the entire article. What was the point of writing this? But no, we're still going to go on and act like that is proof. In a Metroid strategy guide, shows how desperate LGBTQ gamers are to find faces and stories like their own in games. All right. For many, confirmation from Nintendo or Matsuoka isn't important. It's that we allow space for everyone in these worlds we love. Oh, so it doesn't matter if it's actually confirmed or not. You want to confirm it because you feel that you are desperate to find faces and stories like your own. Why? Why does it matter so much? I've never picked up a game and thought about the gender identity or sexuality of the character that I'm playing as. You want to know why? Because I was too busy engaged in the story and the gameplay to give a fuck about what was lacking when it came to trivial things like gender identity. Well, I guess that's the end of the article. Ellen McGrody is a 23-year-old queer writer. No, not just a writer, a queer writer, because that's important, folks. You know, does anybody ever, when they're describing themselves in these little bios, does anybody say, "Hi, I'm Whitey McWhiterson, a 23-year-old straight heterosexual white male writer"? No, they don't. Because, oh, and I know what you'll say. Well, every writer is male and white by default. Sure, okay, whatever you say. No, it's because people have more interesting things about them than their gender identity and their sexuality, and they don't need to wear them like badges so the rest of the world can know just how special and different they are. You know, it's like when people feel the need to write gamer and atheist in their bio, like next to each other, as if being a gamer and an atheist have anything to do with each other whatsoever. And Gadget Witch, but, you know, in Oakland, CA. She focuses on the ways tech, pop culture, and games impact and are influenced by queer folks. Well, I could tell you how they're influenced by them. They're always out to change things, always out to add things where they never were, or warp them to their reality so they can spin a narrative of either being underrepresented or represented but ignored. And it's really ironic that Brianna Wu is writing this article or co-writing it. I don't even know what she did. She probably just, you know, tweeted this woman and said, "Hey, I'm feeling a little bit irrelevant. Thinking we should touch upon this Samus Aran is trans thing so I can piss off some gamers and get back into the whole Gamergate controversy." Brianna Wu is head of development at Giant Space Cat, a software engineer, you know, that just sits on Twitter and never develops any games or works on anything because of harassment, and the host of Isometric and Rocket on the Relay FM network. I don't even know what that is. She's also a frequent speaker on women in tech issues because she would know all about that. Worldwide press has called her the game's boss. Why? Why do these people take these titles? And why do they even give them out to people that are completely irrelevant? For more information on Brianna, visit briannawu.net. Let's not. Or find her on Twitter. I'm blocked by her on Twitter, even though I've never interacted with her in my entire life. But, you know, I have this bad habit of following the wrong people, apparently. Although I'm sure if I did engage in conversation with her, I would end up blocked anyway, because I'm not going to sit there and listen and believe to the narrative. Trans characters, there's nothing wrong with that. But there is something wrong when you feel the need to warp reality in spite of all evidence that goes against it, just to fit a stupid narrative, just because you want it so bad, just because you feel entitled to it because you're oppressed. And then you throw in a bunch of buzzwords, and conveniently, anybody that disagrees with you is transphobic, because the easiest defense in the book is, you know, if this person doesn't agree, they're just a bigot. That way, anybody that comes across the argument will be like, "Oh man, that person's hateful. Well, you know, so let's feel bad about this, and let's side with the poor oppressed victim." It's entirely stupid. and it needs to stop. I'm saying requiring proof is hugely problematic. So now evidence is problematic. And I'll be fair, I'm not even one of those people that's like every time somebody mentions something, oh, I need to see evidence for that before I'll believe it. No, but when it comes to something like this, when it comes to going against what the story of a video game is, the set story of a fictional character, I mean, don't you kind of need a claim or evidence based in reality to prove what you're saying is right? Because you could just go and literally make a claim about anything. I mean, I could start saying Mario is a lesbian, and unless you believe me, you're a bigot. It would be hugely problematic if I had to prove it. So Mario, lesbian, confirmed, 2015. Representation in Super Mario Brothers. Thanks, Miyamoto. But yeah, this topic is, I actually kind of wonder where they got the idea for this, because, as I said, one of the videos I did, I'm going to go back here to it. If I can find it, it's on the next page. One of the videos I already did a Samus Aran is trans video, and I was wondering why it was getting attention today. And apparently it's because of good old Brianna Wu and the Mary Sue. I like how those rhyme. Yeah, this whole disregard canon. And this was in January, so I almost wonder if they didn't come across this article and decided to use it. But everybody's, we're all out to use buzzwords. We're all out to pander to a specific crowd. We all want to, they just want to call people transphobic for disagreeing, or you're sexist, or you're racist, or anything that ends in ist. And then you got all those isms. They just love to throw these out there with absolutely no basis in reality. And if you say anything that goes against the grain, you are just a hateful person, and therefore you have to accept everything they say. And that is the most convenient thing I've ever seen. Well, that pretty much wraps it up. We covered the video. I've covered this topic before. I will link my original video here in the comment box or description box below, so you can check that out. It's basically the same kind of thing. So if you want to delve a little bit more into why I think that the whole Samus Aran is trans thing is stupid, that has a little bit more info. It's a little bit better put together than this random stream. I just basically wanted to do a stream on this rather than make a video about it, since I already did. Obviously, this will be archived into a video, so technically I made one, but don't argue semantics with me. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody, and have a good night.